Hey, what's up guys? I'm back here with another video, and in this video we're going to be discussing the illusion of discussing the illusion of self. Alright, so I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably like, what the hell? How is self an illusion? So that's what we're going to get into here. So Alan Watts said that the biggest ego trip of all is trying to get rid of your ego. Now, for someone like me who was trying to kill my ego for a long time, I'm sitting there like thinking, how is that possible? I was so confused by that statement. Like, if you're trying to kill your ego, then how was that being kind of like egotistic or having a big ego trip? So let me explain. The reason is because there is no ego to kill. All right, our entire sense of self is an illusion. For the most part, we don't control most of what happens to us. Anything that happens to us is mostly through circumstances and situations that we don't have control over. We own most of what we own through circumstance, meaning like a lot of people buy something because it's the #1 product on the shelf, or because it's on sale, or because it's a little bit cheaper than something else, or because you like the color of that thing. It's all circumstance. That's the reason why you bought that one product. Same thing goes for the situations that we find ourselves in and the circumstances that we find ourselves in. With your job, you more than likely took, out of college, the first job that you got, the first good job offer, or you take the best job offer that you get. There's a reason why you take that job though. Same thing goes for a house or a car. Well, a car would go more for like buying things, but you buy that car because it's the cheapest one, or it's the one they have available, or you buy a house because you like the neighborhood that it's in, or because it's the cheapest one, or the one that you can afford. Anything like that. That's the circumstance that results in the action of you doing that, but there's a circumstance behind all of it, right? So we are also all products of our environment until we decondition ourselves from the norms of society and evolve to a higher conscience. So what that means is that, let's say you have middle class parents, you're more than likely going to end up going to college and taking like a pretty decent job and living a middle class life the same way that your parents did. Now let's take into consideration, let's take Kylie Jenner. Fucker was born into an extremely rich family. Like, she was set up for life. She was going to be rich. When you're born into a rich family like that, the circumstances that you're born into are definitely going to heavily influence your life. So when she sits there and says, I earn this, I earn that, like, not really. You were pretty much just born into it and given it. You got a big ego for no reason whatsoever. And same thing goes if you have you were born in a shitty environment or a shitty situation. With that, it would be like, let's say you're born into like a high crime rate area, poverty area, and you only have like a single parent and they are addicted to drugs. Chances are that you're gonna have a tough time getting on your feet and getting your shit together, and you might fall into high crime yourself, or bad crimes yourself. So it's all about our environment as well. We're pretty much just products of our environment, and you can decondition yourself from that because you can train yourself to learn, or rewire your brain to not learn or focus on what you were taught as a child. You're taught like, oh, you'll never be this, you'll never be that. Like, no, that's a bunch of bullshit. Your mind's extremely powerful. You can do anything you put your mind to. So that's something you definitely need to remember. But yeah, as far as the self goes, it's definitely an illusion. So let me continue to elaborate on all this. So we only identify by our names. So if someone takes your name away from you, like, you're still the same person, obviously, but that's really all that you identify by. And there's a few people that will falsely identify by like a material item or some shit, but that's dumb because all that we have when we ascend is our spirit and our conscience. Everything else stays behind. So if all that we have is thought and spirit, and we don't even have control over our own thoughts, all right? They just pop into our head. And don't get confused with thoughts and ideas, because they're different. Ideas are thoughts that we have had and we've formed and continue to think about and form into ideas. Thoughts are just random thoughts that pop into our head. You could be driving down the street and see a chicken and be like, oh, look at that chicken, and then have a thought about a chicken or some shit. Like, I don't know, that's just an example. But that thought's completely random. Had you not seen that chicken, you wouldn't have had that thought. And a lot of the ideas that we, have in life, and or the ideas that we have that influence the directions that we go in life, are strictly based off of the thoughts that we just randomly had. So we need to thank, whatever the situation that popped that thought into our head is. Really, that's what takes control over there. It's the thought, and you can form your own ideas, but you don't have any control over your thoughts. So with that being said, it's only when the thought and observer, us, become one, that we create the false sense of illusion. So basically, if there is no individual self, then there is no ego, right? Like I said, we have very little control over what happens to us or how our lives play out. We're simply observers through which actions act and thoughts think. Sometimes, occasionally we get to make a decision that will influence the way that our lives play out, or a moment or a situation plays out. But even the decisions that we make are based off of the thoughts that we have no control over. So you kind of see how we have really no control over really anything, at least not nearly as much control as we think we have. And all these thoughts and all of our ideas and everything that we own and all that, we really kind of just owe that to circumstances and situations, not entirely on ourselves. So there is absolutely zero reason to have an ego if you don't buy into the false illusion of self. So thanks for watching the video. If you'd enjoy it, I'd like it if you give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good one.